go ahead and call this meeting to order. Welcome, everyone. It is Monday, October 5th, 2020. Welcome to the Whitestown Redevelopment Commission meeting. First item on the agenda is a roll call. So, Nathan, if you wouldn't mind moving along and that, please.
Yeah, sorry, I forgot to pull that one up to start off. Brian Brackmeyer.
Here.
Adam Hess.
Here.
Kyle Weathers.
Here.
April Wyckoff. Absent. Rob Worrell. Absent. Sorry, kids in the background. Elizabeth Keith.
Here.
And Michael Berg. Absent.
Thank you. Next item on the agenda is a Pledge of Allegiance. And Glenn, would you mind taking us away?
I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America,
to the republic for which it stands,
one nation,
under God,
indivisible,
with liberty and justice
for all.
All right. So go ahead and move along to presentations. Don't see anything on for that. So move along to the approval of the meeting minutes from September 8th. Has everyone had a chance to review those? And looks like we have another member. Rob, welcome to the show again. So has anyone had a chance to review the meeting minutes from September? Any edits, suggestions, revisions? If not, would entertain a motion.
I'll make a motion to approve the minutes of the September 8th meeting.
We have a motion, a second. Any further discussion?
I'll second.
Motion, a second. Any further discussion? If not, would entertain a roll call by vote to approve the meeting minutes from September 8th.
Brian Brackmeyer.
Yes.
Kyle Weathers.
Yes.
Adam Hess.
Yes.
Rob Worrell. Let me unmute.
Yes.
And yep.
Is that everybody?
That's all voting members.
All right, perfect. So next item on the agenda is unfinished. Seeing none, but did receive a question from someone who would like to go ahead and speak this evening too. So would like to go ahead and give that person the opportunity to speak for a public forum really quick.
Can you all hear me?
Yes. Good.
Okay. Cheryl Hancock. I live at 5400 East, 300 South. My property is right across the street from the new business A and new business B. I just wanted to make sure that this board was aware before you guys made any decisions on these two items, because this area, per the comp plan put out by the town council and by the people of the town, states that per the comp plan, that area is to be residential, no industrial. So when you're making these decisions, please make sure that you have looked at the comp plan and are familiar with it before you make this decision tonight, because this could greatly impact those of us that live in this area, because we were told this would be residential, and now it is going in front of the Plan Commission for a rezone for an industrial park. So I just want to make sure that you are all aware of that by approving these, and then if the Plan Commission approves this, this would go against the comp plan that the town had put out. So that's all I wanted. Thank you.
Thank you, Cheryl. So, seeing no other requests to speak, we'd like to go ahead and move along to new business in item A, which is to consider declaratory resolution amending the Legacy Core redevelopment area to establish a new allocation area, which is resolution 2020-11. Should have seen that resolution in your packet, but would like to see if Nathan and Steve wouldn't mind just giving a brief overview of that as well.
You're on, Joe's on, and Sarah Ford is on.
along with Rob Royal and some guy named.
Cheryl was still unmuted. So the changes to expand the RDA, as Cheryl mentioned, it is going in front of council to rezone. That decision will be made by, obviously, the Planning Commission and council. This is their request to expand the ERA, which will allow us to use those TIF dollars in this area and capture any future TIF that does come to this area for things in the area like road improvements, public safety. So it's expanding that, and then the next one is actually breaking it off to be a separate, which kind of resets the clock on the sunset of that. And there was legislation, I think, back in 17, so it resets that. Steve could explain it a little better, possibly.
Yeah, I can, and you're kind of right on there, Nathan. They're really expanding. There's an expansion of the existing TIF here, and also treating existing parts as a separate allocation area for purposes of starting the clock on the 25 years. So you kind of have this, we have this original, most of the property in this area is already a part of the legacy core TIF. You're going to carve out what the property that deals with this particular, or would be available for to help on bonds for this particular project, and then also expanding it slightly. Those tax rules that changed in 2017 are, there's really a tax advantage to a developer bought bonds in this case for an existing TIF that existed before 2017. So that will only apply to what is the carve out. But that's why we're kind of doing it in two separate pieces. So some of the property will have that tax advantage, some of it will not. And that's why instead of just expanding the existing economic development area, we're doing a new one for part of it, and then carving out part of the existing one and pledging to be able to pledge and allocate just that for this project or for a potential project on that property.
From a timing perspective, mentioned obviously, and what talks with Nathan to Planning Commission, that this is would need to be rezoned for potential future development too. What is the Planning Commission considering for all that? Of course, the RDC has no authority over zoning too, but what is the potential use for this piece of property moving forward?
Well, I will say, Brian, in terms of the process here, so just to remind everyone, this is a declaratory resolution. So this is the first step. One of the other steps that has to occur, two other steps before it comes back to us, is it goes to the Planning Commission, and the Planning Commission has to ultimately make a determination about whether or not this is consistent with the plan of development for the area. After the Planning Commission makes that determination, it would then go to the council, and the council would have to approve that as well. And then it would come back to this board for a public hearing, and then ultimately the ability to adopt a confirmatory resolution. But before you get to that point, the Planning Commission is going to have to approve it and say it is consistent with the plan of development for the area, and the council is going to have to approve it as well. Of course, to the extent that I don't know what it's zoned currently. I don't know if it's zoned ag or what currently, but certainly to rezone, as I think Cheryl indicated, it would have to go and be approved by the Planning Commission, or they'd have to make a recommendation to the council, and ultimately the council would have to approve the zoning on it. So the Redevelopment Commission doesn't itself control the zoning, but it ultimately has to go through those bodies that do control the zoning as well in order to create this.
Hey, Steve, so is this step just procedural to indicate that this is what we'll do if it's rezoned?
Yeah, I mean, it is. It's the first step in the process is declaring that this is what's called a declaratory resolution under the statute, declaring that you're going to establish an economic development area and an allocation area in both of these resolutions. Here's what the plan is. Here's what we would be able to do with funds from basically the tax increment in this area. Here's the types of projects that we would look at doing with it, or would make available for economic development in this area. Yeah, it's the first step. We have to take the first step as a redevelopment commission before it can go to the plan commission for review or the council for review. Then it comes back to you after they've both signed off on it, and you would hold a public hearing at that point and be able to adopt what's called the confirmatory resolution, and then that effectively creates the area.
So we could approve this and then the planning commission or the council could still reject it.
Correct. Correct.
And thank you, Steve, for providing some clarity on the timing and the process for all this. But curious if anyone from commission has any questions for Steve or Nathan.
So how many years are left on the legacy court TIF?
Well, it would be 25 years. It'll be on that allocation area. Once you would be able to do 25 years from this new allocation area that's created. And I'd have to go back and look at what the original one was. I don't know off the top of my head when the legacy, it was established, and then it's been expanded a couple of times, because we originally started with just the legacy core, and then this area kind of further out, this Fishback Creek area, was added to the legacy core TIF and expanded, I think, 2 different times.
Yeah, we've had the expansions, and then the other big push was the legislative change in 17. Since we do push for the developer backed bonds, that incentive to help them makes it easier to get the developers to want to do those.
Any additional questions for the group or discussion?
No, answer my question.
Would entertain a motion for resolution 2020-11.
I'll put forward a motion for 2020-11.
Can you give a little more clarity on the resolution
On the declaratory resolution amending the legacy core redevelopment area to establish a new allocation area?
We have a motion for resolution 2020-11 to establish. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Kyle's muted too.
Any further discussion? If not, we'll entertain a roll call to approve resolution 2020-11.
Brian Brackmeyer,
Yes.
Kyle Weathers,
Yes.
Adam Hess,
Yes.
and Rob Worrell.
Yes.
Motion carries. This is very similar along as item B, which Steve generously covered. Item B is a declaratory resolution establishing Whitestown Fishback Creek Economic Development Area 1, which is resolution 2020-12. Very similar process. This just carves out that piece of property. If there's any questions, would entertain those. If not, would entertain a motion.
I will make a motion to approve resolution 2020-12.
We have a motion. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Any further discussion? If not, would entertain a vote by roll call for approving resolution 2020-12.
Brian Brackmeyer,
Yes.
Kyle Weathers,
Yes.
Adam Hess,
Yes.
and Rob Worrell.
Yes.
Motion carries. Moving along, I don't see any other business on the agenda, but is there anything else that anyone from the commission would like to discuss?
I had 2 things if the commission has a moment. One is just a heads up. of something coming down the pipeline. We're looking at expanding Perry Worth. So if you recall back, some of you know about the talk of the senior living facility on the MS site and them being required to extend that road. Something we looked at is there will be increased traffic on Perry Worth once the midpoint comes in. So we're currently putting together information. It'll be on the council agenda to engage Reedy to do the bond, to look at the bondability out of Anson South to redo Perry Worth, to extend it the same as what's like in front of Bell Tire, the nice 2-lane center turn lane section, all the way up tying into the midpoint with tying in the trail section that's coming with the midpoint. So right now, engineers' estimates, we have those. We have a prelim design, and we're just looking at bonding capability out of the Anson South to get that project done. So it'll probably be coming back in the next month or two to RDC and going through council and the approval process if everyone's on board. But we feel this is a much needed piece of infrastructure, and the Anson South has the, we believe, capacity to do this construction. And second item, we were looking at the town budget and looking at vehicles. This position, working with economic development, the town vehicle I did have was given back to Parks Department. And as I'm going out to job sites, meeting with clients, taking them around, either borrowing vehicles, hopping in theirs, or as I shouldn't be, using my personal vehicle to take people around. So the conversation was had with Dennis Otten about possibly pulling RDC funds to purchase the vehicle instead of town funds because they can be used. Our admin vehicles, what our police detective up have, looking at town, we get them through the state public bid, and the Chevy Tahoes with pretty much it's what our regular policemen have, just a non-police pursuit package, are about $38,000. So just wanted to fill out the RDC's vibe on that one of whether they are open to the RDC paying for that vehicle. So.
Sorry, look like Rob, do you want to say something? You're lighting up a little bit.
No, I'm sorry. That's just background noise. Sorry.
I know. Thanks for the
I
update.
wouldn't be opposed.
Yeah. Sorry. Yeah. So it's similar practice where other communities have done something very similar, especially with the ties between the Redevelopment Commission and Economic Development too. Also have helped out other service departments with police and fire department as well too. So I wouldn't have any objections to this.
I agree.
Yeah, me too. I think we did something with the walkie-talkies, right, last year?
The police radios, yes.
Yeah.
Police and fire, I think, to get them on the same one as the county. And like I said, it's wanted your feedback because it's obviously a purchase, so it goes through council. Since it's over the 5,000 purchasing the vehicle, but then it would be coming back next month to you guys looking at which fund and so forth to pay for out of. But wanted to put it in front of RDC before I took it to council just to gauge.
Well, if it's economic development based, trying to attract new investment jobs industry to the town, it's got to have bright colors, right? Can we have a say in the picture, the colors of what the wrap of the car looks like?
Solid color like all the others. Little sticker on the window.
Yep. Well, perfect. Anybody else have any other business before the commission? If not, would entertain a motion to adjourn.
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
I think we need a second, do we, Steve?
No, we're fine.
Yes. Well, thank you all. Appreciate your time. Have a great rest of your evening.